and welcome to my flip through of my Australia 2013 album. So in 2013, myself and my family, all 6 of us, went to visit my family in Australia. We went over primarily for my brother's wedding, but also as a full family holiday. If we're going to travel, all 6 of us on a 24-hour flight, we're going to make it worthwhile. So of course I took just a few photos, probably between 3,500 and 4,000 photos. It was a little bit more than that before editing. I did have a plan to create an album when I got back, and I thought I would do a double spread per day to do an overview of the holiday. Didn't quite work out that way with the amount we jam-packed in. We were probably more exhausted when we came back than we were before we went. But this turned out to be a double spread per event that we did. Many days we fitted in more than one. So for the first page, I took a picture we'd taken on the Great Ocean Road, got it printed as a 12 by 12 in Photobox at photobox.co.uk, and then chopped it to fit the front page. So this is probably my only completed album cover. And then I used Amy Tangerine transparency stickers on the front and on the bottom to show the year. So they're not actually attached to the photo, they're just attached to the page protector. So that was the first page. So while I was away, I did take a little journal to note down what we did each day, because otherwise on holidays days can become muddled up. You're not thinking of the day. So it became the flight, and then we went on day 1, day 2, and that's how I tended to jot them down. So I used the cinnamon core kit for this, which I did win on Becky's blog a while back, and as soon as I saw the colours, I knew full well it would work for this album. It had enough variety, but enough consistency. And this is when I find using the same core kit works the best, is when your album is the same theme, you're doing it all at once. Whereas with my yearly Project Life that I used the same core kit, by March, June, July, I was getting a little bit bored of it. By December, I'd had enough. I didn't find that I got bored of this core kit because I put this album together within a week or 2. It didn't bore me because I'd only been looking at it for a week or 2. So when I planned what photos to print, I chose 7 4x6, and I did 2 lots of 3x4. So that was how I split up all my photos into albums: flight, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And then per event, I would get this setup of photos, and that's what I'd send off to print out. Occasionally, there would be memorabilia. I had a big plastic pencil case thing full of memorabilia. So I would pull that out per day. So once the photos arrived, I'd group everything into per day, and then I was ready to work on it. So I didn't really do any embellishing in this album. It didn't need it. It's full enough. I included the photos. I slipped in my cards and my memorabilia. And then over time, over the course of about a week, I just would get a couple out right about that day, move on to the next one. So this is our pre-flight. This one is very basic. After that, I did start titling. So I would still print out my 7, but I would have a title of what it was. So this is when we arrived. My sister had laid on the complete 5-star and above hotel treatment. So we had a letter on our beds, that we had little gift sets, the kids had water bottles and notebooks and sweetie jars, and it was beautiful. So of course we've got lots of pictures of those. I also include somewhere the day. So this was what we call day 1. I think I do include the date as well, which may well be on this under here, which is hiding our address. We also had an itinerary. Because there is quite a bit of my family that lives out there, we were in different places at different times because, of course, they live there. They still have their work and life to carry on with as per normal. So they did an excellent job at dividing their time so that we could completely fill the holiday with stuff. So the first day was a lot of jet lag, a little bit of a shopping trip for me and the ones that were awake, and of course spending time with my nephew. Then we have day 2, which was quite quiet. This one we went to what we thought was Galactic Circus. Fantastic. It's actually an arcade, which a couple of the kids did love. We did end up with some leftover tickets, which of course had to go in. And then we had a family meal, so we could all meet up and spend time together and make plans for the time we were there and what was going to happen. So again, we've just got the title page. I've made sure I've got the number for what day it was, along with any memorabilia for that. So this theme carries on pretty much through the album with quite a few blocks of journaling, which I did in brown pen, due to just the theme of the kit. I did start putting the real date up in the top corner as well on events that we did. Though of course the day it was made more sense to a lot of us, because that was, we'd say, no, that's for day 5, we're doing that on day 5, we're doing that on day 12, and that's sort of the way it worked. So each event had its own things. So this, we're going on to day 4, but there's a couple of things on day 4. So we had the morning where we went to Jerelinga Wildlife Sanctuary with the younger 2, while the older teenagers were still snoozing. We even had a new game that they got taught by Grandy and Gramps, which we became addicted to quite quick. So that needed its own page of us all playing Rumia. And then the afternoon we went to Kumbala Park for horse riding, which was not my best trip, but when the little one was so excited and she wasn't getting off the horse, I wasn't getting off the horse, but a couple of us did. So we've got that. And then day 5, we went to Crazy Golf that you have never seen before. It is the best Crazy Golf I have ever played. Yeah, just the way the course worked is fantastic. If you're ever in Australia, go and find this Crazy Golf. Yeah, it's worth it. It's near Melbourne. Then we had a day trip to Geelong, where mainly it was shopping, which I do like to shop when I'm in Australia for bits that we can't have. But we did manage to fit in a little bit of the merry-go-round and stuff around Geelong Bay as well. And then it was heading to Melbourne for a barbecue. So this was again all the family back together, and had a lovely barbecue with friends, family, people that were up for the wedding. Had a barbecue with all of those. Then it was squeezing in the aquarium. So there's a couple of places here again. So off to the aquarium. I love this picture. This is one my daughter got. Mine tended to just be kids in domes. But yeah, my eldest got this selfie with my youngest. So I love that. And this is the way the kids live while we're moving from home to home, is out of a very messy suitcase. Then we went up to Eureka Tower. We did the full tourist. We did the photo strip. We did the King Kong with the kids falling off. You know, this was the holiday of a lifetime, and we did it all. So all the memorabilia, the tickets, the leaflets. These are the original King Kong photos, but I've put them so that you can see them. We did it all. If we could do it, we'd do it. Then we've got on the Monday, we went to Bounce, the trampoline park. Kids loved it, apart from the eldest, who was a little bit unwell. But many a picture was taken here, many a blurry. So that helped with editing. But yeah, there's quite a few different pictures of the kids enjoying that. And then some of the family went over to treetops. So they went to climb trees. Say my eldest wasn't too well, so she sat there, and I went off to find a dress for the wedding with my sister. But they got some gorgeous pictures while they were there. And then in the evening, my kids went to a One Direction concert. There was probably about 300 photos from this because I allowed them to take the camera. The new obsession with 5 Sauce began, or 5 Seconds of Summer. So they've both included on this page because they loved it. And I even got my daughter to do the journaling so that it had her handwriting in this album as well. The one event that probably did span over more than one double spread was the Great Ocean Road. That was partly because that was an all-day trip. We were out from first thing in the morning till very late at night doing that. So I did spread that over quite a few different pages. The scenery is amazing. I did try to include more pictures with the people in it than just the scenery. But of course, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. So it had to be included. So yeah, there's quite a few on there, and then up to Tower Hill, so we could go and see a few more kangaroos and koalas and even bunnies up there. Then we had a day a little bit more relaxed. Everybody's getting a little bit tired by then. Us girls went and got our nails done. But a lot of it was just spent around the house, spending time with my nephew, kids playing, having a bit more of a relaxing day. It was needed by then. Full on the next day, so it was off to the Science Museum, where everybody had a go of everything. Got the tickets in there. Kids are pretty good at posing for pictures by now. They'll get a bit used to mum having the camera out. So yeah, they had a good day there. And then it was on to the fire station. My brother-in-law is a fireman, or a fiery. So yeah, the kids got to have a go with the hose. They got to climb on the fire engine. We even went in the office and they did a dummy call out, so the kids could see it up on the screen. So that was a good day. And then that was Halloween. So see, I see it as whatever day it was, day 11. But no, it was actually Halloween. So my youngest daughter, and also our friend's son, went to the mall and got their face painted. So they got all ready to go trick-or-treating with their uncle, who was really excited. So off they went trick-or-treating, while I did a lot nicer job of giving my nephew a bath, which suits me down to the ground. The following day, we were heading up to Queensland for my brother's wedding, which is the main reason we were there. But that also was my daughter's 17th birthday. So we decided we couldn't just get her up very early in the morning and put her on a plane without making something of it. So what we did is we still got up at 3 a.m. in the morning and we put her on a plane. But we actually got off in Sydney and did a full day in Sydney for a birthday. I mean, we didn't stop. You know, how many pictures can you take in Sydney in a short space of time? So we got off the plane. They kept hold of our luggage to send it on, which was fantastic. We didn't have to carry that around. We saw the Opera House. We saw the bridge. We then went to Madame Tussauds because they also had a One Direction display. Quickest I have ever gone round Madame Tussauds in my life. My eldest had to have a picture with every single waxwork, which is what we did. Picture, move on. Picture, move on. And you can see by her face, she's loving it. So, yeah, we did Madame Tussauds in a very quick space of time, which is shown across here. In fact, yeah, I think because it was a birthday, she got a few more pictures. We also filled a backpack full of little presents for her. So every now and then we'd stop and give her a present, and she'd open a present, and then we'd carry on. So there was this little backpack that every now and then she got a little treat. We went on the ferry, we went round to Watson's Bay, and then we got the bus up to Bondi Beach, because you've got to do Bondi Beach, haven't you? So time for another present on the bus, an ice cream on Bondi Beach, and a little bit more of Bondi before heading back to get on the plane to go to Queensland. So we've got all the boarding passes, and then we ended up at the hotel where my brother and his wife-to-be had got us an apartment for the 6 of us to stay in, which was amazing. It's bigger than our house, but then again in the UK it's not hard to be bigger than the house. So my second eldest daughter had bought a cardboard cutout of Zayn while in Madden Tussauds. Well, actually, my sister had bought it for her birthday, which is a little bit later on. A little bit's in December, and this was November. But yeah, Zayn came to the apartment. He came on the plane twice as well and survived. So my older two had the apartment or the flat next to ours. So they had their own sort of zone to mess up as they like. And then there was the younger two in a twin room. And then, it was huge. It was absolutely huge. There was a pool on the complex. So one of the first things we did the next day was went down. Kids, we hadn't got flip-flops and stuff because Melbourne weather is a bit like British spring. It's a bit hit and miss. So off we went and got some flip-flops and stuff for the kids so that they could go in the pool and splash about. So we did that. This was while the boys were on a stag do. So yeah, me and the kids played in the pool, went to the sea, played in the ocean, messing about with seaweed, while the men went fishing in the morning and quite a bit of drinking and even dressing up in the evening. Us ladies all met for a meal, and I tried an oyster. I don't think I'm going to do that again, but I can say I've done it. Yeah. Then we did have one more day before the wedding and one more day that we were in Queensland that we could do something as a family. So we had to. So while they were on the stag do, I booked a half-day trip to Green Island for us all to see the Great Barrier Reef. Oh, I could have stayed there all day. So yeah, so this is us heading off. My husband and my eldest daughter did the scuba diving. So they went scuba diving and got some snorkeling and got some fantastic pictures. Whereas with the other children, I went on the glass bottom boat. So we got to see everything. And then I popped in the tour guide. And then we all went in another boat that showed you a little bit more. So we all went in there, and then we headed back because that was, this was it, the semi-submarine. So we all sat in the semi-submarine to see things even better. It's amazing. And then it was heading back on the boat. So that was a good trip. We enjoyed that. Evening time, we had a bit of nighttime swimming in the hotel pool. And some meal out for the adults and a little bit of takeaway for the younger ones. Then this is the morning of the wedding. Would you believe the groom is in the pool? It's the way of Australia. So yeah, everybody went pool dipping until it was time to go and get hair done for the ladies, and then the men would get out a bit later. So yeah, that was the morning. And then there was the ceremony, which was, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's a little bit different, a little bit more relaxed in Australia, but yeah, it was a lovely ceremony. So we had that, followed by pictures. So a mixture of family pictures, and then there was quite a few with of course with the bride and the groom. So we all went and had pre-drinks and pre-nibbles. We did a couple more photo shoots with family, our own little impromptu one, because you can't have too many photos. And then the reception was sort of late on afternoon into the evening. So I mean, Lewis, bless him, he did get quite sunburnt on the trip on the day before, and he's not much of a partier, but we were quite close to the apartment, so he was able to go back with his older sister, and they were able to go and chill out. And my little party queen, who's my youngest, were able to stay and carry on partying until we'd had enough. So yeah, God, I love that photo of my sister with my nan. It's beautiful. So the next day was a lot more relaxed. It was Cup Day, Melbourne Cup Day, so it was very big in Australia. So we had a little bit of a flutter. Not that it did us any good, but we did it. A little bit of park time with the kids, and then they had picked up some driftwood. This is a pretty big piece of driftwood from the beach, which of course was not going to move with us at all. So we got a picture of that before it went, and a last nighttime swim before we had to head back to Melbourne. So the last day, our flight was in the afternoon, so we could do a little bit of paddling, but couldn't really do any swimming because we'd already had to clear out the apartment. So there was a lot of book reading and wandering, and the kids just enjoying the last bit of the hot sun. Once we were back, we took a trip to St Kilda, which is, I think you could find every type of person in St Kilda. If you just stood on the street for an hour, you would pass everybody, from hippies to businessmen to mums to dads to everybody. It's a lovely place to go visit. There's crochet around the bicycle racks. There's, I don't quite know what they are, but they're up on the roof of a hair salon. There's cake shop after cake shop. You'll find about 3 or 4 in a row. So we had a little bit of sampling of that. And then we took the kids to Luna Park, that's up at St Kilda. So it started off evening, and then of course it went darker. So they had a good ride around Luna Park on all the rides before heading back. And then getting close to the end of our trip now, so we took the long drive to Phillip Island, and went to Amazing Things, which is a great optical illusion place. If you're ever over Phillip Island, it is well worth a visit. So we got quite a few photos there, quite a few of the kids being dinner, and they have a big wooden maze, so it's a largest dimensional timber maze. So at least one child did get lost in there, but we found them. And then they had, just before, as you came out the maze, one of these chalk illusions where it looks as though you're walking on stuff. So we all had a go of that. So there's quite a few pictures of that. And then we went to see the penguins, which you can't actually take a picture of the penguins due to the flash and stuff on the camera. So we did the digital full tourist package, and then I got a shot before the penguins were even starting to come up, just to show the view we had. But yeah, there was a lot of penguins. One of the commentary guys said it's the most he'd seen in 10 years. So that was definitely good for the kids. And then before we had a late Saturday flight, we tried to book on the official Neighbours tour due to my second daughter's love of Neighbours, but we couldn't quite get there. But while the street is in Melbourne, we took a trip to the street. As we turned up there, the tour bus was also there, so we grabbed a sneak picture of that. So we've got all my girls, my 3 girls. My lad's not too interested in Neighbours, so it was just the girls for this one. Went for a trip outside every house in Ramsay Street. And then it was the goodbye. It was the spending time, last snippets of time with my nephew, getting hair washed, ready for the flight. So I put in there last little bits of memorabilia, a little bit of Australian dollars, which I can pinch out if I need for my next trip. And last pictures with the family. And then lastly, the flight home. So this was in Dubai, getting from one plane to the next, trying to sleep on the plane, which a couple managed and a couple of us not so much. But that's how I managed to get our whole Australia trip into one album in a relatively short space of time. I mean, a couple of weeks to get a full album done. And it's done, it's documented. I still do scrapbook some of the individual photos to go into my children's albums or to tell a bit more of a story. But the holiday is here, ready for when anybody wants to have a nosy. So thank you for watching. I hope that inspires you to get some of those holidays in albums and get those pictures done.